How's it going, everyone? And welcome back to the Enclave, South Africa's premier firearms education channel. So, today we're moving on with Module 6 Mindset and Awareness. Okay, here we go. So, as you would have seen in the intro, we are going on to Mindset and Awareness. This is actually the final chapter of this book. So, again, only 6 chapters versus the private owners who need 7 chapters to do their firearm. Just saying. I'm not saying that our cops are less educated and less trained in firearms use than the private citizens with guns, but yes, that is what I'm saying. Anyways, the predator analogy. So we are on page 56. One must keep in mind that crime for the career criminal is nothing personal. Debatable. It is just a job. For this reason, the criminal will look for the softest target possible because he does not want to get hurt, killed, or caught. Because in essence, all criminals are cowards. That they don't have the mental or emotional stability to hold down a job, any form of job. That's why they are criminals. Um, and people can talk about how there are no jobs. I drive past people every day who are carving scrap wood into statues, crafting cut up tin cans into beautiful, beautiful pieces of art. Don't bullshit me and tell me there's no work. You can make work. Like, and this is coming from someone who cannot get a job for other reasons. Anyway, let's just get into this. The first rule of defense, and this is very important, is awareness. So it is very crucial that you're always aware. Now, I'm not going to read through absolutely this whole paragraph that you see on page 56 because majority of it is not crucial to your tests. Remember, I'm here to help you. I'm not here to read the entire book to you. So we'll get to the bottom paragraph and then we'll get on to crime analogy risk assessment. Remember, if you are unaware, even if you are armed, you may look to be prey to the criminal, obviously. If the criminal expects a fight, he will not be alone. Therefore, you must expect and be prepared for multiple attackers. You must learn to think like a predator. And yeah, I could tell you now that I've been thinking like this for the past few months, and it's not a nice way to live. I'll be honest. I'll just be frank. It's not pleasant to stare at your cameras all day, to constantly be looking over your shoulder. But unfortunately, living in South Africa, it is what you have to do. It is just the fact of the matter. There are other countries in the world where that's not the case, but unfortunately here, you just have to be aware at all times. You can't let your guard down to get a package, as you guys have seen. Like you can't be unarmed to do anything in this country. Like I honestly like yeah, I wanted to be graphic, but I'm not going to. Like I do things I shouldn't protected because I just refuse to be unprotected at any point. But anywho, so let's just get on to criminal analogy risk assessment. You must learn to recognize how a crime will take place before it happens. This is done in the following manner. Ask yourself what, who, where, when, and how. So we're just going to go through a quick single example here. There are 2, but we will just go through the single example here. So what is the target? Money. So this is in a bank robbery scenario. Sorry, I should have led with that. Question 2, who will attack? The answer being multiple armed assailants. We know they will be armed because they will be expecting armed resistance. So in a place where people aren't expecting armed resistance, like a taxi rank or a bus stop or whatever, you will find a lot of those criminals may be armed, but wouldn't necessarily present their arms at the beginning of the interaction because they don't expect to be immediately met with resistance. The immediate reaction to someone coming at you like that, if you're unprepared, is fear. And the criminal understands that. Where will the attack take place? Obviously inside the bank, in the bank robbery scenario. When will the attack take place? When there is the least amount of customers to contend with, or when there is more money than usual on the premises, i.e., first thing in the morning, when the bank opens, or just before the bank closes. That's sort of self-explanatory. You always want to attack the target at the least opportune time for the target. That's just like you don't want to rob a bank that's got no money in it. How will the attack take place? Multiple armed assailants will attempt to enter the bank without being noticed, one or two at a time. They will place themselves strategically throughout the bank. One of them will signal the others before anyone reacts. So that is how you need to look at any situation. And I'll be honest with you, one of the best ways to do it is to go onto YouTube and you watch channels like Active Self-Protection and you try and see where the attack is going to happen before they point it out, if they point it out. Or if you're just watching raw footage, try and anticipate the attack before it happens. Try and figure out who the target is and who the criminal is before the attack has happened. Potentially pause the video. Start the video. Once you've got a frame of the area, push pause. Try and identify the targets. Try and identify the angles of attack. Things like that are very, very fun. It's a fun thing to do, to practice. And it's also very easy. And you can train yourself to see potential weakness so easily. And it's something that I point out to my wife or my mom all the time. Like when we out in public, like I'll point out people and say, that person is a target. That person is prey. Because they're walking around with their cell phone out, they're oblivious to the world, Beats by Dre headphones on, backpack full of stuff. And you look at them and they just have no clue how close they are to losing everything on their person and potentially their life for that stuff. We look at that Hillbrow shooting that got deleted from my channel. You guys can check it out on Active Self-Protection's channel, though. It hasn't been deleted from there. Go figure. And yeah, like that person had no idea their life was about to be over for whatever they had in their pockets. They weren't even broadcasting wealth or broadcasting prey energy, but just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that is mostly what this is going to teach you, is how to see that everywhere. You just see people as victims or as people you don't want to mess with if you can see that they're alert and aware. And you get to see who's actually on their toes and who's just waiting to be robbed, basically. Anyway, color codes. This is very important. You do need to know the color codes for your testing. So we're not going to go through the whole definition. We're just going to go through the bold headlines. Once again, I'm not here to read you the book. I'm just here to help you pass your test. Condition white. Condition white refers to a state of total relaxation or a state where one is totally unaware of what is going on around them. So, I don't live like this anymore. I cannot remember the last time I was in condition white. I can be in the middle of a heated argument. I can be driving down the street and have someone cut me off. I'm still looking at the oak standing on the side of the road who should not be standing on the side of the road. But that's just me. You should never live in condition white. The people who live in condition white are the people I just pointed out. They are the ones who are just waiting to be prey. They are the gazelle in the wildlands. Like, Condition yellow. Condition yellow is a state of relaxed awareness. This is where you should be unless you're at the higher codes, in my personal opinion. So, in the state of relaxed awareness, you're calm, you're comfortable, you're not stressed, but you're aware of what's going on. The person who walks up to your window when you're sitting at a robot, he doesn't scare you because you saw him coming. He doesn't give you a fright. Like you don't wolf. Hello, no, sorry, no change. Because even if he came up from behind you, you saw him in your mirror before he got to your door. That is being alert. But you can still be listening to your tunes, you can still be dancing, jiving, doing what you got to do, but you just got to make sure that you're still aware of what's happening around you. That is condition yellow. Condition orange is a state of alert. So at this point, for example, you are sitting in your car at a robot, we'll continue with that analogy, and the person in front of you has their window smashed. At that point, you are not in any immediate danger, but you do need to be aware that if they decide that you're the next target, you're going to have to move up to condition red. Okay, so that is a state of you feel like there is some nonsense that could go down, but it is not yet confirmed that it's going to go down. Okay, we then move on to condition red. So, condition red, this is the decision making stage. So, you are sitting in your vehicle, and the people who smashed the vehicle's window in front of you start walking towards your vehicle. At this stage, you want to draw your firearm. You don't necessarily want to point it at them, but you do want to draw your firearm, get it concealed, get it ready, make sure you know there's a round in the chamber, as you always should, and you get ready to fight. Now, if they decide to just run between the two vehicles and run away, you can then downgrade your condition back to orange, subsequently back to yellow. But if they decide to come towards your door, at that point you can enter condition black and you draw your firearm up and you end both of their lives, all 5 of their lives, 3 of their lives. It doesn't matter. You shoot to kill. You do not shoot once. You shoot as many times as you have rounds of ammunition in your gun. That is my personal opinion. Obviously hitting your target. Do not miss. Because in this scenario, there are other cars around you. The advantage you have is you'd be sitting low, so your firearm would potentially have an upward trajectory. I always have a hard time nailing that word on camera. So you would have a little bit of an advantage there, but at the same time, you want to be aware of the fact that there are other vehicles around you. So that is just a basic little example and breakdown of the conditions. Now, pre-visualization, this is just something you can go over on your own. Same with muscle memory. How to build muscle memory. I told you how to build muscle memory. Get anything, oops, I'm knocking everything over here. Get anything that resembles the firearm you're going to be using. To hell with it. If you want to take a piece of wood and shape it like a gun, I have seen wooden training tools that you pay a lot of money for. So don't look at something like that and say, I can't use that to train. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can use anything. So you grab something like this and you practice. You train your draw. You make sure, whoops, I hit my microphone there, I apologize. You train your draw. You make sure that everything is fluid at all times, that your draw is the same every time. And you can practice that thousands of times with a completely empty firearm or with a firearm that doesn't fire at all. It is not an issue. So practice. Practice is how you develop muscle memory. That is the only way. It is the way. Anyways, so stress factors. This is an important thing to understand, but at the same time, you almost need to ignore it. People who focus too much on these stress factors will find themselves thinking about this when the time comes to fight. And that is not something you want. You don't want to be focusing on these 7 points. You want to be focusing on your fundamentals. But even that should be so drilled into you that you don't think about it. What you think about is that target right now, nothing else, because that is all that matters. Everything else, your muscle memory should take care of. Your stance, your breathing, your trigger squeeze, your sight picture, sight alignment, all those things should be second nature. And at that point, this means nothing. This is just going to help you, in fact. And it's something that my trainer said to me. He doesn't like going over this too much because when people read all the negatives and they expect it and then they freeze because they're worried. Oh no, I'm going to get tunnel vision. Oh no, I'm going to get auditory exclusion. I'm not going to be able to hear my teammate. Oh no, I'm going to lose my ability to fire my firearm. No, you won't. If you train and you have good muscle memory, you won't. All this stuff will just help you. So we're going to go through it. We're going to go through the list of them. But once again, I'm not going to read you the whole paragraph. So let's go. We start off with the adrenal dump. So what happens is your body will release a bunch of adrenaline because it knows that it needs to work harder than it's ever worked before. So it's going to dump a bunch of adrenaline. You can actually put this down. It also knows that the second stage is coming, which is fight or flight. So all that adrenaline is to power your body and give you the ability to either fight like a demon unchained or to run like Usain Bolt. One of the two. Either way, that is what the adrenaline dump is for. The adrenaline dump is to fuel your fight or flight reflex. It's to give you that kick to go for it. Okay. We then move on to, let me make sure I get this in the right order. Loss of fine motor skills. So, with that pump of adrenaline, fingers, toes, all the extremities of your body will start to tingle. You'll start to lose a little bit of sensation because the blood flow from your extremities is flowing towards your vital organs, to your lungs, to your heart, to your brain, to give you sharpened awareness, foster reflexes, all these things that will make you a killing machine. And I want to describe this the way I'm describing it because I don't want you to fear these things. I want you to wish for it. I want you to look for these things to drive you because at the end of the day, that is what they'll do. You shouldn't fear these things. These things are there to make you the best person you can be. To get the job done, you've got to get it done in that moment. So just bear that in mind. Don't fear these responses. An increase in gross physical strength. This is where you can lift a car off of your partner. This is where you can run faster than you've run before. You can fight people twice your size. There's amazing things that adrenaline can do for you when it increases your gross physical strength. This is going to allow you to fire things like shotguns without even feeling the recoil. It will feel like someone's tapping you on your shoulder because you are stronger than you've ever been. And it really is Hulk mode. Like if a guy with an adrenaline dump with a gun is a powerful tool, a very powerful tool. I said powerful tool. Anyway, we move on to auditory exclusion. This, the best way to describe it is how my trainer described it to me and also how I've experienced it in life. You will hear what you need to hear. So you will hear the click of your trigger, the brake, the reset, but you won't hear the gunshot. It'll sound like popcorn going off. Like it, you won't necessarily need to fear your gunshot. You should never fear your gunshot. But you will notice that what you need to hear, you'll hear. What you don't need to hear, you won't hear. Can be a problem, but most of the time it's just going to protect you and protect your ears from, yeah. I mean, doesn't actually protect your ears. That's the thing. You just go deaf. But but in the moment, your ears are less important than your life. So we get our auditory exclusion, which is going to shut out majority of the really loud cracking bangs of your firearm. Move on to tunnel vision. I like to call this eagle eye. You focus. You you see nothing but what's important. Once again, it's the same as the auditory exclusion. You only see what's crucial. You focus on your enemy. Once he's down, you focus on your next enemy. Once he's down, you focus on your next enemy. Remember, everyone gets firsts before anyone gets seconds. You don't want to be putting 5 shots on one target while the second target is putting 5 shots on you. So 1-1-1, 2-2-2. Everyone gets first before anyone gets seconds. Boarding house rules. So finally, tachy-psych syndrome. Now, the tachy-psych syndrome, hey, it's, I don't know, Michael Bay mode. Everything's going to slow down. Everything's going to become much more pronounced. Movements are going to be more obvious. Um, your your movement is going to seem slowed, but in actual fact, it's not. And it's something that is very important to understand. Is that a lot of people who experience this for the first time will often feel like they're moving extremely slowly. That is, in fact, not the case. You are moving faster than you've ever moved before. You've drawn your firearm faster than you ever did in practice. It's just that in practice, you didn't have the adrenaline dump, the tunnel vision, all those things, and the tachy-psych syndrome that have basically slowed every process down to a deliberate motion. Like you feel like you're moving like this, but actually, that's what you've done. It was a split second, but you feel like you've just slowly brought up and out. It's it's an intense feeling, but it really is like being in the movies. It, except I don't think it happens as often as it happens in the movies. But anyways, that is pretty much that. Um, the arrest and search procedures, this you can just go through on your own because, funnily enough, they're not in your tests. There was nothing whatsoever on arrest and search procedures in the tests that I got to do or see. So go through it, understand it, absolutely. Um, it is always important to go through these books and understand everything in these books. But that is not going to be the be all and end all of your test. So that is that. Done. We are finished with the handle and use of a handgun for business purposes. It was quite quick and simple. As always, I hope you enjoyed. If you've got any questions or anything to add, please feel free to add them down below. Yeah, that is pretty much that. So if you've got more time, maybe check out another video here at the end. And as always, peace out.